Hare Krishna, welcome to homoeofocus. This is a video of rapid revision of few A group drugs of second BHMS. First is aconitum napellus. It is a great fear remedy. In this, tension, worry, fear accompanies almost all complaints. And first stage of any acute cases which starts suddenly and violently, restlessness, great fear and anxiety of mind, fear and fright, dry and hot skin, unquenchable thirst, aggravation in evening and at night, amelioration by uncovering and in open air, clairvoyance predicts the date and even the hour of death, restless, great haste, music is unbearable, ailments from exposure to dry cold air, heat of sun, checked perspiration, fear and shock. Second remedy is Ethusa synapium. It's a children remedy for intolerance of milk during dentition, indigestion in teething children, complete absence of thirst, greenish copious vomiting, physically great weakness, great anxiety and pain, sunkenness in face, well marked linea nasalis, idiotic, epileptic spasms, and for cholera infantum and epilepsy in babies. Ailments from dentition, hot summer weather, milk is an intolerance in any form, errors of diet, and bad hygienic surroundings. Next remedy is Allium cepa. It mainly acts on mucous membranes and conjunctiva. Its main symptoms are it is a left-sided medicine and for common cold, cough, headache, and aggravated in a warm room. Profuse watery acrid nasal discharge and planned lacrimation. Desire for raw onion, aggravation warm room, evening, and in a amelioration in cold room and in open air. Violent laryngitis, neuralgic pain like long thread following amputation or nerve injuries. Thread-like pain in various parts is a characteristic of Allium cepa. Ailments from exposure to damp, cold wind, and bad effects from getting wet, salad, and cucumber. Next remedy is the alosocatrina. It mainly acts on portal system, liver, and intestine. It's a old people medicine and for women and persons who leading sedentary life. Profuse jelly-like of mucus from intestine and throat. Insecurity of rectum. Aggravation from warm and amelioration from cold water and cold weather. Each appears each year as winter approaches. Dissatisfied and angry about his complaints, constipated, hemorrhoid like bunch of grapes, blue, sore, tender, hot, diarrhea followed by obstinate constipation, solid stool passes out involuntary, and aggravation early in morning, sedentary life, hot dry weather after eating and drinking, standing or walking, amelioration, cold water, cold weather, and discharge of flatus and stool. In diarrhea, early in morning, patient has to hurry to the closet, driving out of bed. Early in the morning, there is a great aggravation. He has to rush to the washroom. Causation is after eating and drinking. Next remedy is antimonium crudum. It mainly acts on mucous membranes, stomach, intestine, and skin and mind. Thick, milky, white coating on tongue, and for extremes of life and people who are inclined to grow fat, abnormal growth of skin for warts, corns, thickened skin in eczema, symptoms which reappear or change locality or site, great desire for acids and pickles, aversion to cold bathing, alternate diarrhea and constipation, especially in old people. Coming to the child of antimonium crudum, cannot bear to be touched or looked at. It is compared to swine due to obesity and thick skin. Very angry, child is very sad, weeping. Thick white coating tongue. Craves for acids and pickles, aversion to cold bathing. Aggravation after eating, cold bath, acids, sour wine. After heat, sun or fire, extremes of cold or heat. Amelioration in open air during rest and warm bath. Next remedy is antimonium tartaricum. It mainly acts on respiratory organs, mucous membranes, and salivary glands. Diseases from exposure to damp basements or cellars and effects after vaccination. And great accumulation of mucus in air passages cannot be coughed out. Rattling sound, popularly known as death rattle. Nausea, vomiting, coldness, and perspiration runs whole of this remedy. And irresistible desire to sleep, excessive craving for apple and acids, vomiting in any position except when lying on right side, pneumonia with jaundice, and bad effects of vaccination, and pustular eruptions like smallpox, ailments from anger, vexation, smallpox, and from vaccination, damp feathers, debility. Amelioration, cold open right, lying on right side. Next remedy is Apis mellifica. It mainly acts on cellular tissues, mucous membranes, causes inflammation and irritation. It's a right-sided medicine. Aversion to tight bandage, great pain remedy, burning, stinging and soreness, suddenly migrating from one part to another. Great, generally thirstlessness, sensitive to touch, edema, general or local, puffy swelling under the eyes, skin alternatively dry and perspiring, dropsical condition in heat stage of intermittent fever, craving for cold milk and sore things, involuntary diarrhea, sensation as if anus was wide open, urine scanty, frequent, painful, sudden urging, strangling, scalds with passing urine, irritates, burning pain. Mentally, patient is awkward, drops things while handling them, indifferent, listless, crying, sudden shrill, piercing screams, aggravates from heat and in warm room, better in cold weather. Next remedy is Argentum nitricum. It mainly acts on brain, spinal cord, and blood. It is also a good remedy for great fear and apprehension. Emaciation is more marked in lower extremities, and muscle complaints, defective coordination with trembling of affected parts, great apprehension when getting ready to appear in public, diarrhea sets in, and for examination funk, sensation of splinter in throat and various parts of the body, chilly when uncovered, craves fresh air, desires for sugar, sweets, and for salt, great longing for fresh air. In gastric complaints, belching accompanies most complaints. Urine passes unconsciously day and night. Impotence. Chronic laryngitis of singers, high notes causing cough. Weakness of lower extremities with trembling. Post diphtheritic paralysis. And acute or chronic diseases from long continued mental exertion. Epilepsy caused by fright. In mind, suicidal tendency when crossing high places or bridge, and time passes very slowly. Next remedy is Arnica montana. It is a injury remedy, injury causing without any laceration, that is a blunt injury. It mainly acts on blood vessels, capillaries, that is for hemorrhages. It is a great remedy for absorbing blood. Bruised feeling all through the body, oversensitiveness to pain, everything on which the patient lies seems too hot, upper part of the body heat and lower part is cold, small painful boils one after another, involuntary discharge of feces and urine, patient bleeds easily, that is hemorrhagic remedy, and especially suited to cases where injury is caused by blunt instrument, that is blunt injury without any laceration of soft parts, concussion and contusions, result of shock or injury. Mentally, the patient is unconscious when spoken to, answers correctly and completely, but immediately unconscious, fears of being struck or even touched, sudden fear of death arises in him. Bad effects of mechanical injuries, blow, concussion, contusions, hard work, fright and anger. Next remedy is Arsenicum album. It mainly acts on mind, nerves, mucous membranes, and almost all organs. Anxious, fearful, restlessness, and full of anguish accompanies most of the complaints. Gastrointestinal tract, cholera. In veins and varices, burn like fire, especially at night. In serous membranes, it causes serous effusion. It attacks glands, indurates and suppurate. Inflammatory swellings, burning, lancinating pains, rapid emaciation, and the complaints are ulcerations which burn like fire, producing pains, discharges. Discharges are scanty, putrid, and offensive. Mentally, patient is restless. burning pain relieved by heat except in head, great prostration, and gastric derangements, diarrhea, vomiting due to food poisoning and from spoiled eggs or fish, meat, any decayed food, and complaints returning periodically, usually annually. And all discharges are cadaverous odor, acrid, scanty, and putrid, thirst for small quantities of water at short intervals, and cannot bear smell or sight of food. Aggravation is midday and midnight. Fear of death, extremely restless and anxious, fastidious, it is compared to horse. And complaints from taking ice cream, cold things in chill, winter, and decayed food. Next remedy is RM triphyllum. It is a left-sided remedy. It mainly acts on mucous membranes of mouth, throat, larynx, kidneys, brain, blood, and skin, causing irritation. And constant picking at the nose until it bleeds, boring with finger, picks lips until they bleed, corners of mouth cracked and bleeding, acrid discharges excoriating the mucous membranes, painful, sore, raw, burning of parts. Nose feels stopped in spite of the watery discharge. Aphonia, exposure to northwest winds. Fluent coryza with nostrils raw. Children's refuse food and read. Account of soreness of mouth and throat. Tongue, buccal cavity bleeding with acrid salivation. Ailments from exposure to northwest winds, getting cold, and overuse of voices. Children cross and stubborn, boring of nose and picking at lips with fingers, which are raw until it bleeds. Aggravation, talking, speaking, and singing. It is a good remedy for aphonia, coryza, diphtheria, mouth sore, headaches, clergyman's sore throat, glandular swellings, and tongue cracked. Thank you. Hope it is helpful. If you like this video, like the video and share with your friends. Stay tuned for more videos.